Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and today we're going to be tackling the transformed wife. So get you something to drink. If you smoke, smoke. If you vape, vape. But you're going to need something to calm yourself down. Hey guys, as of late, I've noticed that there is a distinct change in the transformed wife. I don't know what has flipped a switch in this woman, but she has gone over the deep end. Like, I thought she had been over the deep end, but no, she has gone way past the deep end. She has been tweeting out things lately about how women in the military are putting the United States in danger because they are not equipped to protect. That is not their role, things of that nature. But there was a tweet a while back that sent me over the edge, sent a lot of people over the edge. I know Mr. Atheist covered it, I know Rachel Oates covered it, in which she was talking about women provoking men to anger, in which she was talking about blaming women for being abused. So I was doing my usual, going through things like I usually do to torture myself for these type of videos for you guys, and I found her blog post in reference to this tweet. So I was like, why not make myself angry all over again? So the title of this blog is called Provoking Men to Wrath. It was written by Lori Alexander, aka The Transformed Wife. She posted this on October the 24th, 2019. This actually took me 2 weeks to read through it because I kept getting angry. So, we're going to go through it today. I have me something to drink. It's a cherry Coke. No alcohol. I might need alcohol, but no alcohol. I have my vape handy. I may have to do a jump cut or two to just go punch something, but we'll get through it, okay? So she starts off with her tweet. So she says, the other day I tweeted this: a wife has a much greater chance of being abused if she is quarrelsome, contentious, and abusive towards her husband rather than if she is kind, loving, and submissive. God's ways are for our good, not for our harm. Now that is the tweet that sent everybody, including myself, over the edge. That was the tweet that made me want to just throw the internet away, okay? I could not believe that there was a woman out there that literally would go out and say something in which she is blaming women for being abused. You just set back women so many years. Doesn't matter what a woman says or does. Doesn't matter if a woman is sitting there arguing with you. It does not give a man the right to slap, punch, choke, throw anything a woman. Does not. Now, you say, oh, well, yes it does. Gives him total rights. So, she moves on to say, it's an internal principle. We will reap what we sow, but as so many hate God, they hate his principles. As expected, this tweet received a ton of outrage. It's easy to outrage and offend women these days. You would think they simply ignore me as I ignore them. You don't ignore us, Lori. You may block us, but then you go around talking shit about us after you block us. I know, because I still have you on another account. You go around and you talk shit after you block somebody about how you blocked a person because they were talking shit, pointing out where you fucked up, where you don't get your points correct, and they pointed out to you. Just like this bullshit where you're talking about the woman is the reason why she's getting abused instead of the man just being a douche. if I was still responding to you directly, I would have pointed that out to you. Instead, I had to at you. But then when you block somebody, you go back to your Twitter and talk about how you're just trying to point things out and women these days are just so easily offended. No, you're easily offended. That's the reason why you're so quick to block somebody. Moving on. Now, she moves on to say, if women think that they can never provoke men to wrath, they're fooling themselves. Jesus was even provoked to wrath. Citation, please. Citation. Oh yeah, I forgot. This is a transformed wife. There's never a citation. So, I thought back over my years of being in church and all the sermons I heard, and then I consulted a friend whose husband is an ex-preacher, and several other sources. The only thing that we could come up with was the whole story of when when Jesus entered the temple and threw out the cash changers, that whole story. But that really wasn't even wrath. That is just anger. Wrath is a much deeper, well, that is just a more blood-boiling feeling. Wrath is something that will kill a person. And that is some of the things that these abused women that you want to blame for being abused, that is some of the shit that they get because their little peon husbands can't be real men. So they take shit at work and then they come home and they take it out on their wives because they couldn't do it to a man. Moving on. She says, no, it doesn't give men any excuse to be physically abusive, but women should be a whole lot more careful about the way they treat their husbands. So women have to walk around on eggshells to make sure that their douchebag husbands don't beat the shit out of them. I'm going to tell you something. I have a loud mouth. I have a loud mouth on here. I have a loud mouth in person. Okay? I have a loud mouth at work. My husband would not abuse me. This husband. Now, my first husband was a douchebag. But when he decided to put his hands on me, I put my hands back on him. He realized one thing. I was a little bit stronger than him. So he waited until I had our disabled daughter in my arms before he beat me for 6 hours. So I left before it turned into a situation where I would not be able to walk away again. My husband now, we're both hot-headed people. I may get mad, he may get mad. We may yell at each other. I may walk into another room and tell him to go fuck himself. He may walk into another room and tell me to go fuck myself. But we're not going to put our hands on each other. You know why? It's called being a real man. Moving on. I don't have to walk around on eggshells. Is what I'm getting to. Now moving on. I provoked my husband to wrath on numerous occasions, but thankfully I married a man who can control his anger and would never harm me. Oh, would that be the numerous occasions where you were purposefully pushing him to have more children when he didn't want to have children? Would those be those occasions, Lori? If you're wondering what I'm talking about, go back and look at a couple of my other videos on the transformed wife. The transformed wife who preaches against education for other women, even though she went to college. The transformed wife who preaches against women having jobs, even though she worked up until she was 9 months pregnant with her, I want to say, third child. The transformed wife, whose husband didn't want to have any more children, but she kept pushing him to have more children, even though the doctor told her to stop. Numerous preachers told them to stop, and other people told them they were crazy to continue to have children. Yeah. Moving on. Unfortunately, some men weren't raised to control their anger. My tweet wasn't to give men the green light to go to physically abuse their wives. However, Lori, when you say stupid shit like that, abusive men, especially abusive religious men, will point to that and go, but here's a perfect example of the reason why I act this way on a silver fucking platter. You know why? Because you are looked at as a religious teacher to these dipshits. I don't teach men. However, there are several men that read your blogs, your tweets, and use your bullshit to brainwash their wives and families. My tweet was to encourage wives to not provoke their husbands to wrath. Yes, we are responsible for our actions just as men are responsible for their actions, but some women today falsely believe that women can do no wrong. I have never ever said that. Women can be just as abusive as men can. And we can do some stupid, retarded bullshit just like men can. But when you put stupid shit out there that blames women for being abused, you are just putting that out into the world so that more women can be abused and men can use your stupid bullshit to justify their actions. And then you can sit back all you want. You can sit back in your nice little house out in the country with raising your grandkids or whatever and say, but I don't teach men and I didn't mean that. And that's not what it's for. All you fucking want. You have to think before you say something. And that's the reason why you should erase your presence from the internet. You are toxic and you are ridiculous. But yet, you continue to say stupid ass shit on the internet every single day. Not just once, not just twice, but several times a day. Bad Lori. Feel like I'm talking to a dog. I need like a rolled up newspaper to bop her on the nose or something. Now she says, this is foolish thinking. Continually quarreling and being contentious can provoke men to wrath. No, it can't. Being quarrelsome and being contentious means you have a problem with something that is going on and you're trying to get your point across. Now, if that causes a fight, if that causes a problem, that just means you're tired of somebody not listening to you. Now, me and my husband may argue. We do not physically fight, but we may fight with our words. And that comes about when I'm tired of somebody not listening to me. So, my tone of voice goes from being normal, like, hey, honey, do you think you could do this, to, hey, asshole! I'm tired of telling you. So, yes, I can be quarrelsome. I can be contentious. I can be a downright bitch when I want to be. But that does not give anybody a right to put one single finger on me if I have not put one single finger on you. Now, if I turned around and jumped in my husband's face and backslapped the shit out of him, yeah, I've opened myself up for him to backslap the shit out of me because I hit him first. But since I don't do that, it doesn't give him a right to put his hands on me. No matter how much I argue with him, no matter how much I jump up in his face and be like, you're a dick, I can't stand you, you're getting on my nerves, you don't do shit. It doesn't matter. And so you're saying that being quarrelsome and being contentious can make him put his hands on a person is retarded. And if somebody's doing that, that's because they're an abusive asshole. And I know I'm cussing a whole lot in this video, but this woman just drives me insane. And this kind of stuff right here just drives me insane. Then she goes on to say, this is why the Bible speaks about foolish women tearing their homes down. No. Downright no. Next point. If you're being physically abused, please go here. And she sends you to the abuse hotline website. Okay. That's the one damn good thing in this whole blog. The one. She says to seek protection. There is never any excuse for a man to be physically abusive to a woman, but we live in a fallen and sin-infested world. So this will happen until God decides to burn this earth up. In the meantime, we as godly women need to do our part to live peaceably and gently with our husbands in all submission and kindness. Now that is where you breed abuse. When a woman has to walk around on eggshells, when a woman has to submit to everything that a man wants, needs, desires, whatever, when a woman does not have the right to say, no, I don't want to have sex tonight, when she wakes up to a man having sex with her, even though she said no, whenever she has to give up all of her rights to how she lives her life just because she got married, or just because she's a woman and she has a faith in some God being, that is where you breed abuse. That right there breeds abuse. Point blank, period, end stop, that's it. Boom, you're done. That culture right there breeds abuse. Because the woman is submitting everything to this man. She has no right to say anything unless he allows it. She has no right to do anything unless he allows it. And if he's beating her ass, where the hell is she going to go? That is abuse. Says we are only responsible for our behavior, not anyone else's, but let's not cause others to stumble in any way with our misbehavior. So there you go again, pointing to his behavior being her fault. There you go again, saying it's because of you that he is doing this. There you go again with your finger pointing, Lori. Bad Lori. So it says, wives are commanded to submit to their disobedient husband. They are told to live in subjection to them without the word and with godly behavior. 1 Peter 3:1-6. However, submission doesn't cause abuse as many want to claim. Yes, it fucking does, Lori. Yes, it does. Because as soon as you take a woman's voice away from her, you have muted her, locked her away, and given a ground for abuse to breed. Do you know how many women were abused before the feminist movement that you hate so fucking much? Do you know how many stories I have sat back and listened to from older women in my family? Do you know how many stories I've listened to my dad tell of older women in my family and the abuse that they suffered? Do you know how many stories there are of women in older times and the abuse that they suffered, but because they had no way out, they had to suffer in silence? Oh, you don't? Is that maybe because you've turned a blind eye to it? Or maybe because you just don't give a shit? A wife never has to submit to abuse. Yes, she does. In your own blogs. Yours, biblical gender roles. Apparently there's this new douchebag I'm fixing to start covering. Girl Defined. All of y'all say the same shit, and it's even in your precious little Bible. The woman is not to speak in the church. If she has a question, she has to go to her husband. So, if he's the one abusing her, that stops her communication right there. She can't go to anybody else. So what's she supposed to do, Lori? What is she supposed to do? Oh. You don't have an answer for that, do you? Moving on. These men need help, but in the meantime, the wife needs to seek protection. But I do want to make this very clear. An abusive man will abuse his wife whether or not she is submissive. Now, because I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to tell you right now. Abusive men have one thing in common. They're weak. You want to know what that means? I'll tell you what that means. As soon as they don't have control of that situation, they break. I know this from personal experience. Because I walked away from an abusive husband, and as soon as he didn't have that control over me anymore, oh, he was on hands and knees, and baby, I won't do it no more, and I swear to God, I love you, love you, love you. And he even showed up at my house after I moved. And when I stomped the ever-loving crap out of him in my own driveway and told him if he ever showed up at my house again unannounced, I would have him arrested. Believe me, that man won't come within 10 feet of me unless he tells me way in advance that he's coming, and usually he comes with backup. Been divorced from him going on 13 years now. We were separated for a year and a half before that. I don't have to worry about him anymore. Abusive men will only abuse those they have control over. When they lose that control, they break until they can find someone else to control. When you preach that a woman has to be submissive, when you preach that they have to give total control to the man, you breed a ground for abusers. Okay. Because then here's her next line. Submission has nothing to do with abuse. Yes, it does. This is why I don't write about abuse every time I write about submission. You should. But I forget, Lori, you don't actually talk about shit that happens in the real world. You only worry about shit that happens in your fantasy world. She says they aren't linked together as many want it to be. Because you don't know anything about the real world, Lori. You don't know shit about the real world. You still think that people can live off of one income and be perfectly fine. Well, guess what? It can't happen to everybody. Because if it could, do you think half of us would be out here working our asses off? Do you think I'd be working midnights and be away from my family? No, I wouldn't. Do you think I'd be working a job where I have to change shifts every 3 months? No, I wouldn't. I do it because my family needs the money. I do it because I have to help my husband support my husband, myself, and my son. And I have to make a better life for us. But that is a whole different other video. We have to get back to Lori being an idiot. God commands wives to be submissive because it's His divine and perfect order for marriage. Many wives have even won their disobedient husbands to the Lord and to them by living in subjection to them. Citation, please. God's ways are for our good. She ends this out with Proverbs 21:9. It is better to live in the corner of a roof than in a house shared with a contentious woman. Well, you know what? For those abusive men, get on the corner of the goddamn roof. Maybe with a sharp object poking you in the ass. So, that's her blog. But then you kind of scroll down through here, and I know that Lori's comment section is like horribly like critiqued because it's Lori Alexander, and why wouldn't anything be critiqued? But here we go. One person puts in here, it stuns me when people take God's word and claim it encourages abuse. You have rightly stated that a wife who adheres to Scripture is less likely to be abused. In fact, she is less likely to... Oh, good Lord. In fact, she is likely to be treasured. Although I am commanded by God to love my wife, it is certainly easier when she is fulfilling her role as a godly woman. I hope you shoot yourself in the toe. Oh, this one's even better. Statistics show that women hit men more than men hit women. But don't expect to hear that in this feminist-controlled society. Women want to hit men and act like men right up until they get knocked out by a man. Then they want to hide behind their feminine physique. Feminism teaches women to act like men, but it will never make them men. Abuse is wrong from a man or a woman, but women abusing their men and thinking it's okay has got to stop. These modern women hate men and then want men to worship them. It's nonsense. If you hit a man and he hits you back, you're both wrong. Nobody is talking about male victims of domestic violence, and it's sad. Women are just as abusive as men are, and to say otherwise is ignorant and disingenuous. All abuse is wrong, but so far, women want a double standard. Now, I'm going to say this, and I think I said it earlier in this video. Women can abuse men. Men can be abused. But in these religiously driven households, 9 times out of 10, it is a man abusing a woman, especially with the way that these households are set up. With the women having to be submissive to the man, and the man being the head of every decision. It is a breeding ground for abuse. Now, nobody is saying that a woman can't be abusive. A woman can be abusive. A woman can hurt a man. A woman can be physically abusive to a man, emotionally, mentally, all kinds of ways of abusive to a man. And that is wrong as well. But we are talking about Lori's original post where she is blaming women for being abused. That's the reason why nobody mentioned women being abusers. Because we're talking about Lori's original post. But that's that. I don't think I can handle any more of this bullshit. And I've had enough of Lori's. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already, go ahead and subscribe and ring that bell. In the comment section down below, let me know what you think of Lori's blog post for all intents and purposes. Also, let me know what your thoughts are on this tweet that started all of this bullshit. There have already been multiple videos about the tweet, and I wanted to cover this blog post because, of course, Lori had to try to justify everything and put everything off on feminism. In the description box down below, I will have this blog link. I did read the entire blog to you in this video, but if you want to go back and read it yourself and piss yourself off, it'll be linked down in the description box. I also have my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. I also have a couple of more social medias listed down below. I am cross-posting my videos over on BitChute to try to bring some more people to my channel and grow my channel a little bit. I also have a new social media called Minds. It's kind of like Twitter and Instagram. It has like an upvoting situation, so if you want to go check out Minds, it's free. You can just download it to your phone, set you up a little profile. You can come check me out on Minds, subscribe to me on Minds. You can see when I've got videos up on BitChute and up on YouTube, and you can come view them on those. You can upvote my post on Minds and things of that nature and grow that platform a little bit. My email is still in there, so you guys can check me out on all of those, and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now.